new ruling by a federal appeals court is paving the way for stricter voting requirements.
Today, the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals voted unanimously to reverse a lower court's ruling that called the voter ID law racially biased.
As News 13's Taylor Young explains, if the appeal stands, North Carolinians would have to show ID come the next election.
A long-standing debate in North Carolina. Should voters be required to show ID at the polls?
It's so unfortunate that something so simple, so direct has gotten caught up in legal appeals.
In 2018, voters approved an amendment to the state constitution requiring voter ID. Last year, a lower court judge blocked the law, saying it was tainted with racial bias. In a ruling Wednesday, the federal appeals court reversing that decision due to what it calls fundamental legal errors.
Their critique essentially was that the previous court had not taken into account the constitutional amendment vote, had not taken into account that 4 Democrats had voted for this 2018 bill.
Republican Senator Chuck Edwards calling the ruling a victory for North Carolinians.
I believe it's important for each of us after we go to the voting booth to go home and rest easy that we have a secure and accurate voting process.
He says a lack of trust in the voting system is playing out across the state as a result of loose requirements at the polls.
I don't think it's a necessary thing to have for right now.
Democratic Representative Brian Turner using this past election as an example of why voter ID is not needed.
I think over 150 million people voted, and the Attorney General just came out and said there's no evidence of any kind of fraud, and we didn't have voter ID.
While the majority of states across the country have voter ID laws, they vary in strictness.
The 2018 law that we're talking about today looks more in line with what other states have done.
Good morning. I'm Katie Killen. One person is dead after a shooting involving a Rutherford County deputy. This happened yesterday afternoon. Sheriff Chris Francis says deputies went to a house just south of the Rutherford city limits. They were trying to serve a warrant when the person pulled a gun, and that's when a deputy shot and killed the suspect. Sheriff Francis says the SBI has been notified. A Buncombe County deputy tested positive for COVID-19. The sheriff's office says that deputy normally works as court security. A contact tracing effort is now underway. 8 other staffers who work alongside the infected deputy are in quarantine. So far, none of them have tested positive. The FBI says a suspected serial bank robber has struck again, this time in Etowah at the United Community Bank. Agents call the suspect the Too Tall Bandit. They believe he's about 40 years old with a height around 6.5 feet. Agents say the man also walks with a limp. He is usually armed and heavily disguised. The most recent robbery happened last Friday, and agents think the suspect's crime spree goes all the way back to 2009. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Now here's meteorologist Ingrid Also with your Skywatch forecast.
Good morning. It is cold out there, about 5 to 10 degrees colder than what we felt yesterday at this time, so bundle up. Temperatures will be rebounding to freezing by 10 a.m. Lower 40s by early to late this afternoon, upper 40s, and then temperatures drop back down by early tomorrow morning again. So icy mountain roads from yesterday's snow, so be careful. If you did see a lot of snow yesterday, it's likely still there in some spots. Breezy with a high near 50 today. Slightly warmer weather on Thursday. The next weather maker arrives on Friday with some rain, especially late Friday and into early Saturday. Here's your 7-day forecast showing 50s tomorrow, lower 50s Friday with that rain returning, 50s this weekend and 40s next week.
Litter bugs beware. The giant tumbleweed snowman is always watching. I'm Jay Seltzer. This is your morning cup of Jay. A lack of snow is not stopping desert dwellers from building their own version of a snowman. For the 25th straight year, this giant tumbleweed snowman is once again greeting holiday visitors in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's decorated with recycled items. Every year, city officials put up the giant sculpture as part of an anti-litter campaign. An extra cheese pizza is breaking records. A French chef captured the Guinness World Record by cooking up this pie. It's topped with more than 250 varieties of cheese. Guinness shared a video showing the chef weighing every portion. He wanted to make sure there were enough of each variety to qualify for the world record. And this is one of the first personal computers ever created. It was designed by Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs in 1976. The founders of Apple built about 200 models. However, Only a few have survived in pristine condition over the years. What makes it even more rare is that it's still in working order. Now this relic is hitting the auction block. Bidding on the Apple One will begin at $50,000. I bet it goes for a lot more than that. I'm Jay Siltzer. That's your Morning Cup of Jay. Have a great day.